thinking about the future of dentistry
Yeah.
with AI, are you getting educated around like your sector around what's happening?
Absolutely. We've been early adopters of AI in dentistry, but I'm a huge believer on where it's going to go. So the number one thing for dentists now is AI that can analyze x-rays. There's about 35% of the population that doesn't access dentistry.
Wow, that's high.
Massive in Australia, right?
Shit.
And that's, they're on hospital wait lists. So we thought, how can we come up with a model that's like low cost but high value and think about dentistry differently? Think about where you want to go and go see who's doing it and go try and spend as much time with them as possible. And there's a Chinese proverb, it says, if you want to know how to get to the end of your path, just talk to the people that are coming back.
What inspired you to become a dentist?
That is a very interesting story. Probably it started with failure because my number one dream was to be an NBA basketball player. I grew up in the Michael Jordan era. I was a kid with Jordan jerseys and shorts everywhere, weddings, celebrations, whatever it was, that was me. So I was going to be an NBA player. Plan B, coming from an ethnic family, was I had to be a doctor, right? So where I went from was I wanted to be like some kind of a head or neck surgeon. So
A what?
Head and neck surgeon
Okay.
of some description. Those were the two dreams. So growing up, just played basketball, went to school, all that sort of a thing. And with basketball, I ended up playing semi-professionally here, had opportunities to play professionally in Middle East, but not in the US in the NBA. So I had to make a decision and a realization that I'll probably go with plan B now. So the path I chose was to be a maxillofacial surgeon. So I did medical science at University of New South Wales, and then I was going to go and do, because you have to do medicine and dentistry for that course. So then I went into dentistry, and we did 2 years of medical school there as well. And then once you finish dentistry, you have to do 2 years in private practice before they'll let you into the medicines, then surgical program. But in those 2 years, I fell in love with dentistry and all parts of dentistry. Because when you're a surgeon, you can only do surgery, right? But when I was a dentist, I got into like microscope dentistry, and like what works really well with me is having ultra laser-like focus on a task or a job or something like that. That's what really got me going. So working through a microscope, working in 0.1, 0.2 millimeter worlds, that was it. So once I was working in private practice, I was like, yeah, this is what I'm doing.
I love that. How tall are you?
I'm 6'4".
Yeah.
But like a lot of NBA players, they embellish. So if you ask, most NBA players will say if they're 6'4", they're like 6'7". So I'm 6'7", Ben.
I love it. So when I was doing some research on you, I saw this headline, Dentist to the Stars.
Yeah. Look, we have a practice in Double Bay in Sydney, which is quite an affluent suburb. And we do get all sorts of celebrities coming through. And I guess I ended up with that moniker. But yeah, I mean, dentistry's dentistry. No matter who you see, when you're working on stars, it just ups the game a little bit because your work is going to be seen by millions of people on a very regular basis. So got to get it right.
When a headline like that comes out in the press, do you notice an uptick with inquiry into what you're doing?
Definitely. Yeah. So, and oftentimes, if the potential patients will sort of know who we've treated, and they'll come and say, I want exactly what you did for that person. And that's pretty cool.
Yeah, because you're quite prolific on socials.
Yes.
Are the dentists like that as well?
Look, it's getting that way. And dentistry is so competitive now.
Okay.
But one of the things, and I'm not proud of it, but it is a reality now, is that the better your Instagram photos and your profile is, or how many followers you have, means you're a better dentist. But that's not true. Like the dentistry should be the reason that you're a better dentist compared to others. But that's the world we live in, and hence why we're prolific on it. But I believe, or I'm certain of, that we are backing it up with quality dentistry.
So you scaled a multi-8-figure, I guess, dental business?
Yes, we have.
So that's Dental 99?
So yeah, we've got 3 brands
Okay.
within our group. So that's Dental 99, Dental Lounge, which is where it all started,
Yeah.
and the Sydney Implant Institute, which is
Okay.
focused mostly on dental surgery and the all-on-X surgery. Have you heard about that, Ben?
No.
It's like when your teeth are horrible, like
Yeah.
you haven't looked after them for a long time, and you're pretty much at the end stage of oral health.
Okay.
So all your teeth come out.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, 4 implants go in, and a set of teeth of like 12 or 14 teeth gets screwed into those implants.
It's like when you see those people with those grills.
Look, no, the grills are on actually natural teeth.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not often we're putting grills on people with all on fours because they're mostly older.
Okay.
All right, and the grill thing, if you're 60 with a grill, I don't know if that's going to work out.
I see young people with grills, man.
Yeah, I know. And when I see it, I just hope it's removable because there's grills that you can click on, and there's others that you pretty much, you're shaving your teeth back,
Yeah.
and it's getting glued on.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
That's legit.
that is legit, and it makes sense if you're a 25-year-old rapper from New York.
Yeah.
It's a bit hard to maintain that when you're 40 years old living in rural New South Wales or Queensland.
Yeah. So Dental 99, what's unique about? So you've scaled that business, right?
Correct.
Yeah. So let's talk high level. Like, what's happened there?
So why don't I start with the origin, right?
Okay. Yeah.
So my business partner and co-founder Mark Broad,
Yeah.
we went to a course at Harvard.
Okay.
All right, and what happened there was we were tired of doing the same dental courses, right? There's only so much learning you can do of the same sort of dental stuff, and the science progresses, but it does get to a point where it gets quite repetitive. So we were like, let's go get some business training, and where better to go than to Harvard Business School, right? In typical dentist fashion. So when we were there, we did a course. It was called Building and Sustaining a Successful Enterprise.
Okay. Short course or long?
It was a two-week course.
Okay.
And you live on campus, meet amazing people. It was awesome. But what we didn't realize with that course was actually about innovation and disruption.
Okay.
And that sustaining a successful enterprise is more about extending the longevity of your company by being able to be disruptive or innovative, or to be able to stop disruptive companies taking your market share. And the father of disruption was there, Clayton Christensen, who's like a old school Harvard legend. And so we were looking at industries that were disrupted, like the US steel industry, blockbuster videos and Netflix, Amazon, even like the $2 shop in the US.
Nokia.
And what's funny, the $2 shop now in the US, it's called Dollar General. And it's bigger than Woolworths, like a store. They're massive, but that's where they started. So when we were at this course, we were at a restaurant in Harvard Square, and we were like, man, dentistry has just been the same for like 100 years, right? And pretty much most dental practices, they're always targeting the top 20% of the patients, that are going to get the crowns, implants, veneers.
Yeah.
And then there's just not enough innovation and not enough focus on servicing the part of the population, they call it non-consumption, that doesn't visit a private practice dentist.
Okay. Interesting. Because
of cost, transparency, bill shock, all those sorts of things that come into play. So we thought, mate, there's all this technology out there. What can we do to help service that group? There's about 35% of the population that doesn't access dentistry.
Wow. That's high.
Massive in Australia, right?
Shit.
And that's, they're on hospital wait lists. They're up to like 2 years. And then, they just would never walk into your standard private practice because, $300 for a clean is really cost prohibitive for most people, right? For that population. So we thought, how can we come up with a model that's like low cost but high value and think about dentistry differently? And we're like, man, let's change the model around. Let's focus on these guys. And
so no one was doing that in Australia?
No one in the US.
Oh.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. The way we came up with it, it was like, let's find tech that's going to replace the human requirements of the average dental practice.
Yeah.
Because the average dental practice, you need receptionists, you need treatment coordinators, you need multiple nurses, We haven't replaced nurses yet.
Soon.
Robots. But look, you got to think if we cut out all those costs, we were able to deliver high quality dental treatment at a really low price. And our philosophy is from the second you walk into a dental room, it's the same, right? But everything before that is as different as we can make it.
So when you say low cost, like what price?
So a checkup and clean is $99.
Shit.
Right? We'll get you out of pain for $99. And we have, there's all sorts of other, like consults, whitening, all that sort of thing. Fillings were $99. Over the last 2 years, we had to bring it up, but it's $149, which is still astronomically low.
Cheap.
Compared to a lot of, almost all dental practices.
Do you mind if I ask, in regards to that Harvard short course you did, what was the cost of that? Do you remember?
Yeah, I think it was somewhere probably 12 to 14 grand US.
Each?
Yes.
What a great investment.
Oh, mate, tell me about it. And it's not just the course, it's being around the people that changes your thinking. And there was 4 Aussies there, and one of them, we're still dear friends, and she's like really high up in corporate Australia, and it's good having a kindred spirit like that. But you get, I went back and did another Harvard course. It's called OPM, which is Owner, President, Manager.
Okay.
Which is sort of like their MBA for entrepreneurs. Because I'm a dentist, man. I don't have business training.
Yes.
Like I know how to fix a tooth, but I don't know how to read a P&L. So we went and did that afterward. And, there's the connections you make there. And a lot of people say, your network is your worth. There's those billionaires there, those people all around the world. The head of the Nigerian oil and gas infrastructure was there.
Yes, and
the electricity grid. It was such a great learning environment.
So that's a big awareness piece that you, I guess, both acknowledge that, hey, we need to sharpen up our business acumen. So you went to Harvard to do this course.
Yeah.
Because it's a common problem that I see, especially with doctors.
Yes.
Where they don't have the business acumen, right?
It's a real challenge. And I think it should be included in our dental and medical training to a certain extent, because there's a good portion of the population that ends up in private practice. And you make a lot of mistakes, and really costly mistakes. And I would have loved to have this training earlier in my career, because it can be brutal. Ultimately, though, an hour in the field is worth 100 hours of training, right? So I think you still do have to go out there and make the mistakes, but having more awareness so they're not critical mistakes that happen. I think that's pretty important too.
So did you guys obviously that idea was ideated there and then you came back and executed?
Yes.
But did you go there thinking that you guys just wanted to do something bigger or?
That's a brilliant question, Ben. We always were thinking big.
Yeah.
Like that was just in us. The how we probably weren't sure of. But yeah, I don't think we thought it was going to be this big. Our goals are to create quite a large national brand.
Yes.
And if I'll be perfectly honest, our goal is to have the biggest dental brands in Australia.
I love that.
So that didn't start when we went to Harvard. That sort of thinking was there beforehand. That sort of drive, it's inside people, I think. And I'm very fortunate that Mark and I are exactly the same way.
So you guys clearly own that specific niche, that low-cost model in Australia.
Yeah, and we've had some big players try and get in there and fail.
So when you say fail, why do you think they fail?
Did not do that course, right? Because when you do that course, disruption, it's a loosely used word, right?
Yeah.
I'm disrupting this, or I'm innovative, or whatever. But there's really specific criteria you need, and there's really specific methodology that you need to follow for it to be successful. And, when you have a $2 billion company opening down the road from where you are, you get worried, right? You get really worried. But then you look at what they're doing and you think, oh, you know what? You guys did not do the course. You guys are making some serious mistakes. Thank you.
Okay. And so then you said earlier that
Yeah.
low cost model was not in the US as well.
Yeah.
Is that there now?
I still don't think it's there.
That could be a big biz op.
We have toyed with that idea. We had an old friend who created one of the biggest dental groups in the world.
Yeah.
And it started in Australia.
Okay.
Dr. Ray Corey. And he was looking at setting something up in the US that we were going to tag along with, but that fell through. It's always something that's on our mind, but we're not there yet, Ben. And we've both got three kids. If you open in the US, one of us is going to have to go live there. And
Probably you.
Probably me. Probably me. Although Mark loves the US maybe a little bit more than I do.
Okay.
But we'll stick with Australia, and then we'll go from there.
So you came back to Australia, you launched it.
Yes.
Obviously you guys hadn't built out a big business like this. Like how did it go like operationally to begin with?
We made every mistake you could imagine, Ben. The first thing we did was we hired a tech team.
Okay.
And, we had 2 or 3 guys trying to build the vision. And then whilst we were working on refining the operational model, what do we know about building and running tech teams, right? So that didn't work out. And then we're really fortunate that we met a person that we were working on another business on, which we can get into. That was a finance company that ultimately failed.
Okay.
And he was doing the tech for them. And then we sort of met each other, and you feel like we're kindred spirits. And he had a tech company, and we said, hey, this is what we're doing. And are you interested in working with us? And he was like, yeah. And he had a team of like 50 developers, local and international. So that's where the tech side of things came into alignment. And one thing I've been told, and I think it resonates with me a lot, if what you're doing is going to serve the greater good, then the right pieces will come your way.
I believe that.
Yeah, and that was one of those pieces that just came our way. And without it, this thing wouldn't have gotten off the ground.
Without that person?
Yeah.
Isn't it interesting, like you find a critical person, how important they are to like the success path of what you're doing?
Absolutely. And that person was Arnold Varson, and his company was Technocrat. And we've been partners ever since.
Okay.
Yeah, so we did the course, when was it, 2016? And then we ended up launching our first 2 practices in Sydney, in the CBD and East Lakes. And then we've built it out from there.
They went well?
They went well. So we some things we did that were smart, right? We did a soft launch to family and friends first.
Okay.
So that went on for 3 months, and then we ended up opening it to the public probably about July 2019. Okay. Within like 2-3 weeks, we were on the news, like 7 News, current affair, like the morning shows, and that just blew us up.
So did you, was that strategically planted to get on there?
No, it wasn't. It was another alignment thing that just fell into place.
Yeah, it's a big one.
Yeah, it's huge.
It's like big publicity to serve like that 35%.
And, we had so many dentists just try and beat us down, right? On socials, on every platform you can imagine. And I would spend like hour after hour, I'm talking like till 3 a.m. responding, trying, and it was like, how dare you guys criticize what we're doing when we are trying to provide accessibility to dentistry for the rest of the country.
Yeah.
And then what ended up happening pretty soon, which I was so proud of, was our patients started responding to the dentists, right? And they were like, it's like, you guys are just worried about your next Porsche service rather than providing an affordable, accessible dental option. I was like, yeah, that's good.
That is gold. Yes. Like that's as good as it gets.
Absolutely.
So, so that business has scaled quite geometrically now, that Dental 99. It's not franchised, right?
We actually tried the franchise model, which is another mistake.
Okay.
Did not work. I think, I would say there's a reason franchising hasn't been done in dentistry before. And looking back now, I'd probably have much more specific criteria as to how we would make it work. And I think something important to acknowledge as well, Ben, is a lot of people get into dentistry to make a significant profit
Yeah.
out of it, right? And we were happy with having a smaller level of profit,
Yeah.
but serving a lot of people
Mm.
and then building that over a grand scale, right? And that
Yeah.
doesn't work if you're franchising, right? Because
Yeah.
your franchisees are expecting much larger profits
Yeah.
on that small location.
That makes sense. Okay, so I caught up with you in, I think, November last year, October, at Dan Martell's event.
Yep.
Another environment where you can, I guess, immerse yourself in learning. And then obviously you went to Harvard and, built this successful business. Like, how important is like this professional development, this, I guess, these closed groups where you go to kind of like evolve your thinking?
Look, you just have to get better every day, Ben. It's really simple. And, leaders are readers, right? I'm reading all the time. And, it's only a natural evolution from there to be around great coaches. So I really believe in coaching or getting coaching in every part of my life. And then another bit of advice I got was, think about where you want to go and go see who's doing it and go try and spend as much time with them as possible. And Dan's one of those people, right? And there's a Chinese proverb. It says, if you want to know how to get to the end of your path, just talk to the people that are coming back.
Yeah.
Right?
True.
So I'm really big. I spend probably a lot of, maybe too much of my own personal money on coaching and training. But like people like Dan, or any of the like business greats, if you can get access to them, it's worth every penny.
A lot of the audience that listen to this, they're like small, medium business owners.
Yep.
You're in YPO.
Yes.
Do you mind explaining about like what YPO is, like also the criteria, and then obviously maybe just talk about EO?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I was introduced to YPO at Harvard.
Okay.
Like all the guys there were like, "How old are you?" And at the time, I was in my 30s. Like, you got to join YPO. You got to join YPO. And I had no idea what it was, but it was like ubiquitous. And they had these like lunches and dinners, and I just didn't understand it at the time. So when I came back, I looked into it a little bit. It stands for Young Presidents Organization. It's basically a networking group for people. You have to be under 45 to join.
Okay.
But they don't kick you out when you're 45. It's like a networking group on steroids. I've never seen anything like it. But the criteria to join is you have to have either a certain amount of revenue within your small to medium business, and it's 15 mil US to start, or you have to be leading a really large company with thousands of employees. So if you're the CEO of one of those companies, they'll take you on. There's one other, the third criteria I probably should know, Ben, but I don't.
That's okay.
But they're the two main ways you get in. And it's just such a well-run organization and structured method to improve your business life. And like, I can give you an example of how it worked for me. So I joined 3 years ago. So in my first, when you join, you go to there's like a business lunch sort of a thing. Yeah. But it's not just a business lunch where it's like, we just sit around and talk about how great we are. There's usually a lecturer or presenter going through their business. So I was at one of those, my first event. I stood up and explained who I am and what I do. Within like 5 minutes at that lunch, I had one of the members come and say, you guys would know him. He's the founder of Mad Mex in Australia, right? Yeah. And he comes to me and he's like, okay, how are you locating sites for Dental 99? Who's doing that for you? And I'm like, mate, you're looking at him. It's the bane of my existence. I spent 50% of my time just going site to site, dealing with agents. And he's like, mate, call this guy and he'll charge you this much. It wasn't too much. I think it was like $2,000 to $3,000 a month. And he'll do all of that for you. Bang. I just got 50% of my time back.
Wow.
Right? Just one conversation. And it was a very worthwhile investment. And then the second question I was asked that day was something relating to, I can't remember. Ben, it was something that was, again, a huge challenge of mine, taking up massive amounts of time, stopping me from doing what I want to be doing. And again, I got connected to someone else.
So good.
25% of my time back. So just like one lunch, one conversation, two conversations, 75% of my time back. It was amazing.
People problem solving, like really thinking about problems that you could be experiencing. And I guess the proximity, like Mad Mix, like that's a fucking serious business.
Yeah. I mean, as a dentist, right, I know, and I say this to all of our young dentists, right, you can go and watch a procedure on YouTube. You can read 300 books about it, right? Or you can just come ask me a question and I'll give you the answer in 2 minutes. And that's the kind of access we want to give our dentists to make them as great as they can be.
That's right. So for those people listening to this who might not be able to qualify for those prerequisites for YPO,
yes,
there's EO underneath it, which is Entrepreneurs Organisation.
Yes. So EO is the scaled down version. The requirements are less, but there's a lot of people that double up when YPO and EO, because it is a little bit more geared to the SME market, and you have it's much more entrepreneur based, right? So I think it's the same sort of thing. You end up with like-minded people who have similar problems that you have, and you end up problem solving, and you get the wealth of experience from being in a room of 10 people that are 5 years ahead of you or 10 years ahead of you in their business journey.
Because there's all these networking groups like BNI and all this stuff, but they're not very disciplined.
Yes.
It's not very diligent around how you got to show up. And I know that with EO and YPO, like you have to show up, eh?
They've got this thing in YPO. It's called forums.
Okay.
Where you have to be there. If you're 1 minute late, there's a fine. So I remember my first forum. I was an American dude in there, Tanner, who's the founder of Planet Fitness in Australia. And he was like, all right, here's the rules. Like, you can't be here, you can't do that. You can't be late. There'll be a monetary fine. You can't give notice within 24 hours, And when you run your own business, like, you set the rules, right? There's no one really giving you that level of authority or accountability over you. And I thought it was wonderful and refreshing. And there was another fellow in our group. He got an urgent meeting to go to the US.
Okay.
And they were like, can't do it. So like, what can we do to help support you?
Wow.
To make sure you're here? So like, we'll find a way. I thought that was brilliant. And I have not seen that any other part of my personal or professional business life.
Is that what makes it, you think, like part of that makes
Definitely. Because you give that level of commitment and you're getting that level of commitment in return from the other members. That's going to drive transformational change.
Do you think most business owners who are looking just to get better, like just generally get better, should be like at a minimum in EO?
I think it needs to be part of your growth plan.
Yeah.
One thing that I found, like probably 5 years ago, I was like, I want to be a better leader.
Okay.
And I didn't think I was very good at it at all. And so I started reading all sorts of leadership books and watching leadership content.
Yeah.
And you don't know if that's going to help or not.
Yeah.
But it absolutely does. And I remember reading a book that said, when you study something enough, you end up seeing the 5 to 10% differences that all the great researchers battle against. That's sort of where I've gotten to now. It's like, oh, okay, so now I've read the 90% like 300 times. So I think I'm pretty well versed in at least the theory part of it. I'll let my team say if I'm any good at the practical side. But now seeing that 5 to 10%, I think we cannot downplay the value of reading the right books.
I love it.
And then throw in a networking group like EO or YPO. It should definitely be a part. And on top of that, my thing is now, which I'm a recent believer in, is getting coaching. And if I can give a simple example, like I've been going to the gym and lifting weights and all that sort of, very serious athlete since I was, 13 years old. And then I started a 75 hard in November.
Yeah. And
it's been the hardest thing I've had to do. And I thought, I know how to plan my workouts and all that sort of a thing. I know how to do it. But then I thought, no, this is the new me. I'm going to go get a coach for this. And again, transformative.
Sorry, you got a coach for the 75-day hard?
Just for a fitness coach.
Got it.
Right? It's we all know a lot about certain things.
Yeah.
But a coach's perspective is game changing. And it's probably taken my fitness from, I think I would have made a 20% gain. I feel like I'm at 200% right now.
How'd you go about selecting that coach? Is it quite broad, like just with nutrition and fitness plans? And
like we've been talking about, Ben, I asked my YPO chapter, who's a great fitness coach, and then I was recommended to this person.
Do you recall listening to a presentation at YPO by a guy called Simon Reynolds?
Ooh. He sounds very familiar.
He did a presentation, I think about a year and a half ago. But anyway, I interviewed him recently, but I thought you might have. I'm sure there's a lot of presentations, right?
Well, there's a lot of chapters in
true.
Chapters in Queensland.
Okay,
there's about 4 chapters in Sydney.
Okay.
So, and each one runs their own sort of learning calendar.
Yeah. So let's talk about the fitness, because I do see you posting on Instagram at like 2 a.m. in the gym. I'm just like, man, this guy's showing up.
Yeah.
So you've obviously trained a lot throughout your journey, right?
Yes. And great periods of not training as well and getting out of shape.
Yeah. So this, what I guess prompted the 75-day hard in November?
So I'd heard about it about a year ago.
Yeah.
And I thought, that's cool. I tried it for one day and said, this is ridiculous, because you have to work out twice a day. Right? And I was okay to work out, and I was pretty consistent at working out every morning. But to do a second workout, when you're doing a 10, 12-hour day and you have 3 children, it just didn't make sense. So I did it for one day and I said, no, this isn't for me. The second time I heard about it was from Dan Martell. So in his program, the Mindset program, he said the 75 hard, because I've done it 2 or 3 times, it's the hardest thing I've ever done.
Wow, he said that as well.
Yeah, and at that point in time, it was exactly what I needed to hear, where it was like, let's go. I'm going to do this. I'm going to get it done. And the thing that I think helped me a lot with fitness this time around is I aligned my fitness goals with my professional goals.
Okay, how so?
I came to the conclusion, Ben, that like being a business leader and living the sort of life that we live, it requires the same level of effort and intensity and focus as a professional athlete.
True.
Otherwise, you lead to burnout. I think it leads to certain failures that you could have avoided. So you need to show up in the best possible version of yourself, and fitness is a huge part of that. It's not just learning and improving. And I really believe that when you get yourself right, you vibrate at a different frequency, opportunities come your way, and I think fitness is a big part of that.
Interesting.
So when I heard Dan say that, and I was already thinking like this, it was just alignment, right? And I said, I'm going to do it. And here we are, still going.
I've never done the 75-day hard, but
Yeah.
you said Dan also said it was the hardest thing. So you're training twice a day.
Yes.
Is there a nutrition element?
Yeah. So the workouts have to be a minimum of 45 minutes.
Okay.
And one has to be indoor, one has to be outdoor. So the nutritional element is you have to drink 1 gallon of water, which is about 3.7 liters.
Okay.
And then you have to follow a diet. So you can pick any diet.
Okay.
But the diet I chose was one that would guarantee success for what I wanted for my fitness goals, which was 2,000 calories or less with 200 grams of protein.
Okay, that seems reasonable.
Reasonable. And then the next one is no cheat meals, no alcohol.
Okay.
And then you have to read 10 pages of a personal development book. That was an easy one for me. And then you have to upload a progress photo.
Every day?
Every day.
Oh, that's why you're doing it.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't understand that.
Yeah.
So, out of curiosity, like, why is it so fucking hard? Like, I mean, I'm not trying to say it sounds easy, but is it the indoor outdoor? Is it like the no cheat? Like, what's the?
It's that level of consistency for that amount of time, and I think the program must have been refined for many, many reasons. Like, a lot of us can do these sort of things for like 20 days, 30 days, but then like you end up wanting a day off or needing a day off, and it gets challenging, like to do it consistently.
Yeah.
And having the discipline to do it consistently. The other thing is you really it makes you really smart at organizing your life.
Okay.
And to make sure your calendar allows for such a thing. And it makes you cut out things that you wouldn't normally cut out. An example is, like, if you have to drink 3.7 liters of water a day, you're not drinking much else.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Right? Otherwise, and I've experienced this, you spend way too much time in the bathroom.
Yes.
So like, it's all these little things come together. But like, 75 to do it for 75 days straight, it's tough. When I first started, like I said, I'm used to working out every day.
Yeah.
But 2 days with no rest days, right? Most people do 5-6 days, or they get the weekend off. So to do 2 a day
makes sense. Yeah, 7 days,
it's
twice
brutal.
a day.
Mate, I had a litany of injuries. Like I did my rotator cuff, I hurt my back, I actually broke my toe.
And you're still going?
Still going. Mate, I was like limping around in my outdoor workouts. But as soon as I broke through, so it was like 2 weeks of hell with those injuries, and I broke through that, I haven't been injured since.
From what I understand, if you miss one day, you start again.
Got to start again. So I've had 2 failures.
Okay.
Yeah, so the first one was I did 11 days, and on a Saturday I got up at 4 a.m. to do my first workout, and then I had all sorts of activity during the day for my kids, like taking them to their sports and stuff. So I didn't get back till about 6:30, and then we had an event on a boat, a YPO event.
Yeah.
That was supposed to finish at like 10:30, and I was like, oh, that'll give me enough time to get home and get my second workout in. But I didn't get, the event didn't finish till like 11:15. Got home at 11:30, and I was out of time to do the second workout.
Was that an indoor one or outdoor?
That one was outdoor.
Okay.
That's an easy one. You can just go outside and go for a run, right? So then the second time I was on day 57.
Ooh.
I was in the US, right? I'd been running in the snow for like 2 weeks, right? It was so, and doing a gym workout. And, you know, I went to a restaurant one night, and I thought that I had an abundance of calories because I'd barely eaten that day. And then I had calamari and a steak, and the calamari came out fried. I thought it was grilled, but I thought I'll be okay. So I still ate it, I plugged it all into my MyFitnessPal, and I was like 304 calories over.
That's how you broke it.
It's day 57, yeah.
That's brutal.
Yeah, tell me about it. So then now I'm on day 33.
What was it like starting that next day on day one?
Horrible.
In the snow?
Yeah, that snow run was horrible. But like, and I'll be honest, Ben, throughout the night, I was like, no one will know, right, if I just keep going.
True.
You know, and I thought about it, and I was like, so the thing that got me was Mark's son met me in the gym the next morning, and he was like, man, what's going on? What day are you up to? And I just couldn't lie to him. And I was like, mate, day one.
Oh.
Day one, let's go. And then, but you know, I want to get to the end of this and not have an asterisk next to it. I don't want anything holding me back. I want to wear that T-shirt with pride. I don't know if they give out T-shirts for this, but.
So this will be the first time you're completing a full one? Okay, interesting. Yes, I saw you when you were going through yours end of last year.
Yeah. I was pretty early on.
Yeah.
Then, yeah, lots changed.
So what's the engagement with your coach like? So are they there just mainly accountability, giving you guidance? Do you see them physically?
Yeah, so they give me my training program, and my nutrition program.
Yeah.
And then I train with them twice a week.
Sounds interesting. And good for accountability?
Great for accountability. And, you know, if you got to see them twice a week.
Yeah.
Look, I mean, I'm already in this thing. It's not like I'm going to be spending a day on the couch eating Doritos and not training. But what I find when I train with her, it's chalk and cheese to what I do on my own. And I believe I push myself pretty hard, but it's still not the same.
What would you say is like the top benefit you've had by engaging this fitness coach? or benefits?
Confidence in the plan.
Okay.
You know, you've got a professional that gives you the plan, and you know, I'm utilizing her because she knows what she's doing, and so I follow the plan to the letter because I have full confidence that it's going to get me where I need to go.
Yeah, interesting. Because I've never engaged one. That's why I'm curious.
Yeah.
And what about the learning process? Have you learned things about nutrition that you didn't know before? And has there been any
About nutrition? Yeah, look, one thing I liked that we started was a detox. You know, you do like a 1 week detox. That was pretty cool. So I did see the difference in starting that way. That makes a big difference. I think that makes a huge difference. In terms of nutrition, I've been at this a long time, Ben. Like, you know, it's the knowing is pretty much there.
Yeah.
But the doing's always the problem when it comes to health and fitness, right? You know, we can all create all these plans, but ultimately you have to be the person to go out there and do it, and do it when you don't want to do it.
I know.
That's the tough part.
You mentioned leadership before, just
Yes.
rewinding, shifting gears back, and you said you want to become a better leader. Like when you hear the word leadership, like what comes to mind?
Oh, I could talk about that for 2 hours, right? Look, there's so much to it. I believe in transformational leadership.
Okay. And in what regard? Like
the job of a leader is to improve everyone around them.
Got it. Yeah.
Right? Like transform their abilities at work and then transform their personal lives too. So one of the things that's been really interesting about this 75 Hard that I'm doing is there are so many people at work doing the same.
Okay, it's transformational.
Man, and the days I want to give up, I just think about everyone, and that keeps me going. Because oftentimes when you're trying to do things for yourself, you hit a point where it gets really, really, really hard. But if you're doing something for others, you don't hit that point.
So they've been inspired by what you're doing.
Yeah. I mean, we've just been away for the last few days in Brisbane and in the Gold Coast for our awards weekend. And, you know, everyone's been, you know, eating healthy meals. You know, we're like on seafoods. No one's been drinking.
It's great.
It's been wonderful. It's actually really good to see something that you're doing has inspired people you really care about to go on the same journey.
So what specifically encouraged you to become a better leader? Like obviously your business has grown a lot. Was there a specific situation or you just wanted to improve leadership or?
Being rubbish at it.
Okay.
And, you know, I think people like us, we're hypercritical of ourselves and we're super aware when things aren't going well. Like if I had an interaction with someone and I'd walk away and go, Gamma, you did not do a good job there. Like you could have done a lot better. So a lot of those little things, and I had really great mentors that believed in me and put me in a leadership position because I started as a associate dentist at Dental Lounge, working for Mark.
Okay.
And then I've ended up where, you know, we're in a partnership and we're running all the businesses together. But that's where I started. So I had really great mentors that believed in me, that did put me in leadership positions that I probably felt I was ready for at the time. But looking back, I don't think so. But we all think everything happens for a reason, right, Ben?
It does. How did you, I mean, you obviously had the awareness to be like, I need to become a better leader.
Yeah.
I suck at this and I was the same. But like, I guess, do you feel like people like listening to this who want to become better leaders, like you need to go through that first, actually go like, hey, I need to level up? Or like, I guess, what's the roadmap for it in order to become better?
Yeah, having the self-awareness.
Yeah.
I think that's really important. The other one is go spend time with great leaders.
I love that.
You will realize where you are on that ladder because, you know, great leaders carry themselves a certain way. They speak a certain way. They have challenging conversations a certain way. And the way they engage, you can just learn so much from that. And it's like one of those things where if you go and watch an NBA player play basketball, or if you go a high school kid watch basketball, you just can tell the difference, right? I think if you're a leader, the same thing happens when you're around other great leaders.
And like, if people aren't, let's say in YPO,
yeah,
don't have that proximity where they can just knock, what do? You just do cold outreach to people you're inspired by and just spend some time with them?
One of my favorite books of all time, Ben, is Think and Grow Rich.
Okay.
Have you read it?
I've read that.
And there's so many good stories of, young people who had no background spending time with titans of industry and getting their way in. So yes, I think having a relentless approach to being around good leaders, will get you there. The other thing that I found in my experience being on YPO and being other really great leaders is we all understand that we didn't get here on our own. Right? There was someone that helped us along the way. And most of the leaders that I know, they want to give back. So you just have to make sure you're the right person to give back to. And I think if you go and ask the right person the right way, you will get that time with them.
Have you heard of Robin Sharma?
Yes.
So I read a book that was a big awakening for me around leadership, which I think was A Leader with No Title. Or anyway, but the whole premise of the book is just everyone's a leader.
Yes.
You walk into the toilets in India and someone gives you something to clean your hands with, they're a leader in their own right, rather than looking at just the CEO of a Fortune 500 going, he or she's a leader. And I really believe that. I really feel like everyone's a leader in their unique way, doing whatever they're doing day to day.
I couldn't agree more. I think if I represent what you said in a different way, which a leader is someone who is the best part of someone else's day.
Yes.
Right, so I try and do that every day in almost any interaction I could have. And I think that doesn't need a title. You can be good to a person and be the best thing that happens in their day. And that is true leadership.
True. Thinking about the future of dentistry with AI, I read something recently which was interesting, there needs to be a mindset shift around AI will replace me.
Yes.
With a human who is better at AI will replace me. But I guess AI is this big topic at the moment. Are you getting educated around your sector around what's happening?
Absolutely. We've been early adopters of AI in dentistry, and there's dental specific stuff. Yeah. But I'm a huge believer on where it's going to go. So the number one thing for dentists now is AI that can analyze x-rays.
Wow.
And diagnose dental conditions. I mean, that's there. There's 30 companies now.
That's
or maybe
happening
more.
now?
Happening right now. And we're about to infuse it through the whole business.
It's crazy.
And a year ago, we tried, and it was pretty rubbish. But it's dramatically different now. And, I read a story, Ben, and this was actually the thing that really got me, because I went to a longevity conference in Orlando. This is 3 years ago now. They had an AI that could look at an MRI of a person. So if a person was under an MRI and they were shown a picture, right? This AI would analyze what was happening in their brain on that MRI and could draw that picture with 90% accuracy. It's mind-blowing. So I think X-ray diagnostics is already there. It's almost gone, where it'll be better than humans.
So would you say, how would it compare to your assessment now of assessing an X-ray?
Look, I've been a dentist a long time, Ben, right? So I think I'm still pretty good. I'd beat most of them. But if you're 0 to 5 years out of dental school, I would say the AI would win.
So when I was in the States last year, I saw these, I think they're the Tesla robots, in the kitchen. It was insane. They're $25,000. I'm like, man, just get them at home.
Yeah.
Are they going to replace some of the people that are operating at the moment?
Without a doubt.
Yeah.
In my opinion, I'd say within 20 years, there won't be a human dentist. And a lot of people will be like, oh, no, I like the personal touch. And dentistry is such an intimate and challenging thing for people, which is completely understandable, right? And great dentists, what a great dentist. They're really great with their hands, but more important than that, they're empathetic, they're kind, they're caring, and they reduce patient anxiety, right? That's what most great dentists do. And it's how do you replace that with a robot? I think what we miss is this, if someone came to you and said, this robot will do your filling with 0% mistakes and maintain your tooth structure, and you'll have zero potential complications. Or we can get dentist A, 20 years out of dental school, who will do it with 80% with some minor complications, right? I mean,
It's a good point.
I'm taking the robot.
Yes.
I just want the best thing for my health. It doesn't matter if I don't get the best personal touch out of it. Throw into this, what's one of the biggest things we're worried about in dentistry as people is pain.
Yeah, that's true.
Right? And a lot of pain is around sort of the injections and anesthetics and all that sort of a thing. But that's going to be gone too. Like, we will not be injecting people local anesthetic in 20 years.
Okay.
There's already so much work in the field of light wavelengths, and we tested a device where you put it on a tooth and it just sends these light frequencies and it goes numb.
Wow, I've never heard of that.
Yeah, it's in R&D right now. It's the newest thing. It's crazy, but that's now. So add 20 years to that. So the pain levels will be completely different. And then now we'll have AI. Their diagnostic ability will be way better than any of us. And then we'll have the robots that perform the procedures with much more accuracy.
So you and Mark will need to head back to Harvard for further disruption, innovation. But
totally.
How are you guys thinking about it though? You said 20 years, but are you guys proactively thinking about the operational model and what's happening?
Look, absolutely. I think there'll be steps to it, right?
Yeah.
So anything that's digitally done will have AI helpers.
Yeah.
For now. So we're utilizing that as much as possible in every field of dentistry. But then the next one would be, I think robotics would be the first thing probably in nursing, like a dental nurse. Right now, I'd say there'd be robotic helpers there. I mean, there's companies in Japan that are building them now, which we've looked at. But yeah, it all comes down to commercial cost, right? So that's why the Elon Musk's model is insane.
Yeah.
They can get that robot for $25,000.
It's unbelievable.
Other than him, right? Anyone else that would build that would want over $100,000 for that sort of a thing. But he's revolutionary that way.
And that price will probably keep coming down, like he's done with Tesla.
Yeah.
Low cost.
I drive a Tesla.
So that one in Japan, is that what are your thoughts on that?
It's not there yet.
Okay.
It's not. It's, I think what'll end up happening is there'll be a robot that'll help the nurse.
Yeah.
The other thing, we've got robotics as well now that are available, but a human has to operate them. And that's for guided surgery. There's a lot of that in medicine. It's just hitting dentistry now, but it's really cost prohibitive. They're like $150,000.
Okay, wow. Yeah. That's a lot.
Yeah, for dental equipment, makes no sense. But at some point in time, that'll come down. As soon as that happens, we'll be jumping on that too.
So Dental 99, did you guys bootstrap that, you and Mark?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, bootstrapped and debt funded.
That's amazing. And that's powerful.
Yeah, we've resisted the temptation to take on private funding. We want to be in control of our own destiny, and I think the model works really well in that it's one thing that's been great about Dental 99 is we can open a practice and it hits the ground running.
Yeah.
Whereas if you're a traditional dentist and you open a practice in the local corner, it takes a long time.
Yeah.
Before you gain the traction. And that's the advantage of having a trusted brand.
Have you guys had private equity, anyone knock on your door?
You know what? That is something that happens. The moment I get my alignment right and I feel like I am operating at my best potential,
yes,
the private equity calls start flowing in.
Yeah, because it's a great recession-proof model.
Yeah. And then, look, I guess we're trying to do it on our own for as long as we can. And right now we're in the process. We've built an executive team for the whole group. We're really laying the business foundations for us to scale at a significant rate.
Where's your time mostly spent these days?
So I'm spending a lot of my time working on our training programs. Right now we have 48 dentists or oral health therapists in our group.
Yeah.
And a lot of my focus, transformational leadership, is creating an environment that can allow them to be the best they can be.
Okay.
And I really believe that in dentistry, there's so much room for growth.
Yeah.
And it doesn't require like some magical unicorn thing to come happen. It's just simple training, spending time with great dentists, creating a really great environment for the right teams. And part of that is, well, the other thing we're working on is we're building a training hub.
Yeah.
And a dental mega center, you'd call it, 14 chairs, head office, training centers. We've got a dental lab there, and we've put a wonderful bar for everyone that wants to come and have a good time. And that's part of our goal of like creating that sort of collegiate environment where everyone, all the great dentists, we get them all together and everyone just gets better.
What's the process like recruiting these dentists? Are they typically being operational themselves, running their own gig? Like, what's the profile look like?
We have a wide mix.
Okay.
And, each brand has different types of dentists.
Okay.
For most of our Dental 99 dentists, we're sort of 0 to 5 years out of dental school.
Okay.
Very much into growth, learning and development. And then in our other brands, we generally attract the more experienced dentists. I've got a dentist coming from Europe right now. He's 25 years out of dental school. He's like one of the thought leaders in all-on-4 and surgery there. And he's come to join us. So in terms of recruiting, it's tough, Ben. It's tough. It's really tough. There's a lot of demand for dentists right now. So you've got to have a really strong value proposition to them to attract the right dentists. And something we've made mistakes on in the past is, because we have quite a few openings now, is we've rushed the process, and that never works.
Got the wrong people.
Yeah, and I've learned now that it's just not worth it to ignore the little voice in your head when you meet someone and they're not the right fit.
Yeah.
It just does not work out. And, hire slow, fire fast, all of that sort of thinking is within our organization now.
Do you help each practice with marketing? And
yeah, we have a centralized marketing team.
Yeah.
That's the only way to do it at this size.
Okay.
And we do have some agency work that happens, but, we want to be in full control of our content and our destiny. The other thing I found with some agencies, the volume they give you is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like, we had a recent discussion, and I can't remember how much they wanted, like $10,000 a month, and just for socials.
Yeah.
And it was like, we'll give you 28 videos.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
I was like 28 video, like reels. But I said, that's insane. I could produce a lot more, and that's nowhere near the volume we need. So, I think it's one of our competitive advantages is having our own marketing team.
So that marketing team helps all these owners.
Well, technically we are the only owners in our group. We have one franchise practice left.
Okay.
And so everyone sort of works under the overall
Understood. Okay. So, got it. So I guess are they trying to build their own Instagram profiles, all these dentists as well?
I want them to.
Yeah.
And I'm happy to help them to. And we actually commit our marketing resources for that to happen. But most dentists struggle with that.
I'm sure it'd be hard.
It's hard, and getting on camera and talking and saying things, you just got to get the reps in. It's not easy, Ben. It takes time. And dentists are generally more introverted than the average population. We're more like engineers and scientists than media personalities.
That's true. Talking about, socials, I only started getting on them 10 months ago, right? Yeah. And I just came to the realization that it's about the individual. It's going to be about the individual soon.
Yes.
Versus the company.
Yes.
The companies will sit underneath the person, but it's going to be who's this person.
Yes.
And I was like, man, I was so far behind. I was like, I need to start getting out there. You've been obviously pushing it for a while.
I have been, but I also came to that realization toward the end of last year.
Okay.
Where your personal brand
is
going to matter a lot more the further and further we go along the social media pathway that we are now. So we're doing a lot more sort of like founder-led marketing
Yes.
and content, but it is also a challenge for us to have the whole group, because we get hundreds and hundreds of new patients every week. They can't all want to see me, right?
Yeah, that's true.
So that's one of our challenges, is to build the brand, but also have some content related to me or Mark.
Is Mark on socials?
He is, not as much as me. Mark is a true surgeon at heart.
Yep.
He's much more comfortable with the scalpel in hand, but he's also great on camera too.
Gamer, I've loved this chat.
Appreciate
Thank you,
it,
brother.
Ben.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, Ben. Thanks for having me.